There are a few key differences between how rich people think and how poor people think. And when I'm saying rich, I'm talking about people who have financial abundance, people who make a lot of money versus people who don't make a lot of money. And wealth is defined in many different ways. It's not just having money. Wealth is also being in alignment with your values, having amazing relationships, feeling a sense of purpose and confidence. But I'm talking right now about the difference between people who make a lot of money and people who don't. The number one difference is that people who make a lot of money, they are in what is called the results economy. This comes from Dan Sullivan, the founder of Strategic Coach. He's coached more successful entrepreneurs than anyone in the planet. But he says that there's two different economies. One is the results economy and one is the time and effort economy. People who don't make very much money are in the time and effort economy. They feel like they're doing good when they put a lot of energy and a lot of effort and a lot of time into something. That's usually why they get paid by the hour, is because they think that they're successful based on how much work they do. And highly successful people don't view it that way. Highly successful people are focused on results, whatever is required. There's a book called the 80-20 principle, and this is one of the core principles of success, but basically what it says is that 80% of the income comes from 20% of the population. 80% of your results comes from 20% of what you do. And also on the reverse of that, 20% of your results come from 80% of what you do. And so one of the key aspects of becoming successful, using your time well and making a lot of money, is to focus solely on the result. What is the result you want, and what's the most effective way to get there? You reward yourself on result, not on the time it gets. And if you apply the 80-20 principle, guess what? You become willing to do whatever it takes to get there. There's this quote that says, when the why is strong enough, you'll figure out the how. The how is only based on whatever will create the result. You don't just do hows that you've done in the past. In fact, there's a lot of research on hope. And people with low hope, they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they don't adjust their strategy based on learning. In fact, they feel hopeless towards the future because they don't know how to adjust their strategy. People with high hope, people with high motivation, and those two things are very connected, they're constantly adjusting their strategy based on the results that they want. They're so committed to the results they want, that bigger, better future, that they're constantly adjusting their strategy to more effectively get there. Because it's not about how much time and energy you put in, it's about what strategy you're using to create the most effective result. There's also something really cool, and this comes from both Tim Ferriss and Tony Robbins, that whatever state you're in, state of mind, that's going to determine the strategy you apply. That's why you want to actually get yourself into a high state first thing in the morning. High state means that you're in a high emotional place. You've got high expectancy towards success, high gratitude. You're really connected to your future self. If you get yourself into the right state of mind through fitness, through journaling, through gratitude, through breathing, and there's a lot of research now on breathing, but if you get yourself into the right state of mind, then you're going to look at strategy differently. You're going to be more willing to go out of your comfort zone. You're going to think more clearly. You're going to be more willing to get help. You're going to not just go through the motions and do the same thing over and over and over again. So the first key difference between people with high wealth and people with not is that they're in the results economy. They only care about the result. They're not obsessed with how long it takes or doing it a certain way. Instead, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that result, even if that means getting help from certain people or letting other people actually just get the result for them. That brings me to the second point. And there's a book that I recently wrote with Dan Sullivan. It's actually called Who Not How. And one of the things that highly successful people do is that they don't do all the how. They don't feel like they have to do everything themselves. A lot of people, they feel like they're the only ones who know how to do it, and so they do everything themselves. Highly successful people don't look at it that way. Highly successful people hire and team with people who they then let do the job for them. They focus on who instead of how. That's how billionaires think. Billionaires, they focus on who. They've got team members all around them so that they themselves don't have to focus on a million details. If your brain is focused on a million different things, then you're not in flow. You're too scattered, you're pulled in different directions, and you're not doing what's effective, you're just being busy. Being effective means you're doing the right thing. Being efficient means you're doing that thing well. Being effective means you're doing the right thing. And you've gotten other people to take care of the rest. And that takes time. It takes time to even hire a first virtual assistant. But if you valued your time, you would realize that there are a few things you do that produce 80% of your results, and there's a lot of things you're doing that are just busy work. Maybe they still need to be done, but the sooner you hire someone or pull someone on to take that stuff off your mental plate, then you can start visualizing a bigger future. And by the way, there's a huge amount of research on this. The research in psychology shows that your mindset, your energy, your behavior comes from your view of your own future. And as soon as you free up some time and energy so that you can actually focus on a bigger future, your identity changes, your behavior changes, you become more confident, you become more excited. So freeing yourself up with who's rather than just trying to do all the hows and rather than thinking that you're the only person who can do it, You actually acknowledge that there's other brilliant people out there who can do things better than you, and you value those people, and you let them help you towards your goals. You hire that person to take care of the 80% of things taking most of your time, so that you can focus on the 20% that actually create 80% of the results. The fewer things you do, the better. The more teamwork you have in your life, the better. Another big difference between people with wealth and people who don't have it is people with wealth are constantly learning. Yes, they take time for entertainment. Yes, they take time for recovery, but they're optimized for learning. They're constantly learning, constantly reading, constantly studying, and adjusting their ways. Because through learning, through transformational experiences, not only can you imagine a bigger future, but you can strategize a better future. You've got a better team, you've got better strategy, you've got a better mindset. There are ways to do things that you don't know how. For example, becoming a millionaire is about applying certain principles, applying certain behaviors. Anyone could learn how to do it. Most people just simply don't learn those skills. It's like baking a cake. Baking a cake requires a recipe. You have to have an outcome, and then you follow the recipe. There are ways to bake a cake, and there are ways to become a millionaire. There are ways to become really good with people. There are ways to create happiness in your life. There are ways to overcome an addiction. And the problem with your results is that you haven't learned those ways and you're not applying those principles, that people who are achieving bigger results have simply learned those ways and are applying those principles, many of which are joining the results economy, getting other people involved in your goals, applying who, not how, actually reading, studying, learning, adjusting your strategies, using your mornings well, using your evenings well, recovering well. There are amazing concepts and principles you can use and another really big, obviously important difference between wealthy people and non-wealthy people is that wealthy people create systems and automate their success. They're focused on their future self. People who are broke and who don't have a lot of money, they're so focused on their current self. They're focused on their current situation. They're focused on what's current, what's urgent. They're paying the bills. They're focused on what's right now. Whereas people who become highly wealthy, highly successful, they're focused on their future self further and further out. They're investing money literally right now that they won't use in 20 years. And they've got a system in place where every week on auto, there's a book called The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. One of the most simple principles ever. You put money away on auto without it even hitting your mind. You've created a system where on auto, money leaves your account every week and goes into your investment account every week. You do that, you're automatically a millionaire in 20 years from now. That's how compound works. And so if you're automatically putting some money towards your future self, then you've already been applying this principle. Your future self is the thing that should determine your daily behavior, not your current circumstances. So people with a lot of money, they're investing more and more in their future self, and their future self, as their future self gets bigger and bigger and bigger, their current self becomes more and more capable, more and more powerful, more and more committed. So not only do they automate investments into their future self, which over time makes them a millionaire, but they're putting at least 10% of their money towards their future self, which they don't even touch. They're spending less, they're investing more, and they're making wiser and wiser investments. They're also building a team around them. It's who, not how. Rather than doing everything themselves, they've got a coach. If you're trying to run an Ironman or a marathon, you get a coach. If you're trying to become financially successful, you've got a financial advisor. You're building a team of who's around you to become successful because you're increasingly committed to the result and you're becoming increasingly educated in your network and in how you do things. So if you want to be successful, you've got to have a vision towards your future self. You got to join the results economy, meaning you focus on the few things which matter and you then outsource or delegate everything to who's, and you build an amazing team around you who can help you get there. You also spend a lot of time learning, reading, and you're investing more and more towards your future self. It's really actually easy to become a millionaire. Even in today's world, and it really doesn't matter the economy, you can become your future self by investing even 10% of whatever you make. Even if you make $10 an hour, invest $1 towards your future self. And as you begin investing towards your future self, your income's going to grow. Your confidence is going to grow because your future grows. And as your future grows, your behavior changes. So wherever you start, 10% right now goes straight to your future self and on auto towards your future self from now and forever. And as your future self grows, you will change. As you commit to results, you will do whatever's required. You won't just do what's comfortable. You won't do what your former self did. You'll do what your future self requires because whatever your goal is, that's what's required. So you will go out of your comfort zone, which will lead you to changing as a person. Becoming successful it's not easy, I would say. It always requires discomfort. It always requires transformation, but there's a process to it. And if you don't understand that process, you're going to be living on autopilot. I'm Dr. Benjamin Hardy. There's a link down below for my 30-day Future Self program. I'll talk to you later.